Hi, everybody. Welcome to the December BaZi and Feng Shui talk. We are getting ready to move into the month of the rat. Lots to talk about, but we're going to breeze right through some stuff here, and hopefully you'll take away some nuggets to get you settled into this winter season and in preparation for all of the holiday shenanigans. So, just a quick reminder that all of the previous recordings are available on my YouTube channel. I always encourage newbies, if you're new to this video, or if you're new to the study of BaZi and Feng Shui, take a look at the previous month's recording, just so you have some understanding of the flow of energy, because everything works in tandem and everything works from the previous energy, So we always say what you do today is what happened yesterday, and you can create new things for tomorrow. So that's just my little quick reminder. So this month, December, is a fire rat month. And the rat element is yang water. And what that means, yang water is like the ocean. So it's very powerful water energy. And because the elemental combination for the month of December is between fire and water, there's a natural conflict between the two elements. The conflict is actually complementary. It's actually harmonious, believe it or not, that there is harmony and unity and peace in the midst of friction and conflict. So we'll get into that a little bit later. And so why, when we look at it from a Chinese metaphysics perspective, the fire and water elements are very unique from the other three elements. It's because they're both mutually destructive to each other. For example, water obviously conquers or destructs water because water extinguishes fire, right? If your house is on fire, water is going to help extinguish the fire. But similarly, fire energizes water, right? For instance, it boils water. So water doesn't actually appear to be still and calm and serene. You need fire to kind of energize it and to stimulate it. So there's a lot of movement between these two elements. So when we're talking about December, without losing the knowledge that December is the peak of the winter season, when all the animals are hibernating. Just think about mama bear. Mama bear is pregnant, or mama bear has little baby cubs. They're full, they're fat, they're resting, they're restoring their energy. So even in the midst of the theme of that in nature, there is big friction happening. So how does that apply to us, in our day-to-day is we can, in some sense, feel a sense of calm and ease going into December, but that friction can feel like anxiety or restlessness, kind of, the thing that prompts us not to be able to sit still, like we want to get things done. But there's the I guess the opposite attraction between stillness and movement, the yin and the yang. So you're kind of like in between those two dynamic. It's very hard in some ways. Like I've seen how it impacts individuals, particularly if it's their own individual chart in terms of how they show up in their day-to-day. They could be feeling very lethargic physically, but then their minds are very, very active. Um, or they have a strong spiritual peace, but they can't sit still, like they're up and down and they're always on the go, but there's a sense of peace inside. So taking all of those analogies and examples, kind of, apply that to your, awareness going into December. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a thing that you have to rush to get out of because it's uncomfortable or it doesn't fit, the perfect mold of what it means to be still. Just kind of be in it, okay? and be in it temporarily, at least for the next 30 days. So there are blessings in discomfort, and there are good things that can happen in chaos. Okay. And going into Chinese medicine, the fire and water elements are like it is the um it is the full picture of what vibrancy and good health represent. You need both, you need healthy fire and you need healthy water. You don't want too much or too little of something, because too much or too little of anything creates imbalances. And that's when sickness and ailments and certain things start to manifest in our physical body. So fire and water. Fire, if you've been following all along, know is related to our cardiovascular health, the blood, iron, ferritin, our vision, thyroid, metabolism, energy level of the body, and also our cognition. So this is when we feel very alert, our mind's sharp, we can make quick decisions, versus feeling foggy brain, kind of lethargic, feeling a bit pessimistic, not enthusiastic, like you're not very enthusiastic or motivated to do anything. So those are telltale signs of a lack of fire. Then the water element is kind of like the big gun when it comes to Chinese medicine health, because this is the kidney chi. The kidney chi is the battery of life. This is what stores the will of the person. When you meet someone and you're like, wow, they have gumption, like they have guts, they have the will. Some people come on this earth in this body with a lot of like overflowing of water chi, and these are the people that can withstand a lot of trauma, a lot of brokenness, and they don't get beat down in life, where they kind of just stay on the ground. Some people just have an overflow of that chi factor. And those are the kidneys. And so kidney is, like I say, the battery of life. There is no replenishing of it. It is what it is. You come with the amount of energy on this earth. So every time you get sick, every time you experience an injury, you're always depleted. You don't sleep well, right? You're having some mental or emotional imbalances. You're always taking from your bank, and you're never redepositing anything, because it just is what it is. And also from a fire and water perspective, we need this for reproductive health, as well as for hormones balances. Very, very prevalent, especially for women in terms of their fertility, which is tied to their hormones. So this is an interesting month when we're starting to maybe pay a little bit more attention to what's happening in our physical bodies. In I Ching, which is another modality within the realm of Chinese metaphysics, and the school that I participate in to give training classes, we teach I Ching, and this is not the book of change that you see at Barnes and Noble, where you buy a book and you kind of throw some coins and flip to a particular page and you read it. No, this is a different kind of I Ching. It's called the King Wen Oracle System. Very different in terms of how we actually apply it in practice. So that's all I'm going to say about that. If anyone is curious or wants to know more, certainly message me, and I'll have a separate conversation around that. But in I Ching, we have trigrams, and trigrams are 3 lines. It literally means 3 lines. Solid line represents yang, broken line means yin. And there's a variety of these kinds of trigrams set up, and they each represent an aspect of nature. And so you have the fire trigram and the water trigram. And the fire and water trigram, there's a special terminology that we call chi chi. I know it sounds kind of funny, but it depicts sort of this utopia or paradise, or the calm after the storm, right? And they have this combined harmonious energy, and they exist out of the friction, right? You just imagine for a second when the clouds part and the sky is blue after like a thunderstorm, right? And it's just wow. Um, there's a lot of those kinds of manifestations in nature, but there's also a lot of those kinds of manifestations in our human experience. For instance, when we experience a death, a loss in our family, right? And then you experience the birth of a new life and all the hope and the joy that are attached to the prospect of a wide open, limitless possibility of a new beginning, right? For that new life. But there's a much greater appreciation for that new life because you understand the loss, the void, right? The hole that exists because of the loss. Similar to when we're closing a chapter in our career. And for many Western folks, career is very much attached to parts of our identity. What I do is who I am, kind of a thing. And so when you're parting ways or closing a chapter in a piece of what you do, part of you dies with that. And there's also that kind of grief and that sadness of like, wow, I worked hard, from college to that part of my life, the last 20, 25 years, and now I'm embarking something new. That's a friction. And that friction is necessary for the new things to happen. So I keep repeating this. I don't know if you noticed, and giving you a lot of analogies and examples because that's how I want you to move into December. It's the cooperation and the willingness to cooperate, to say, I understand that in order for me to have the life that I desire, at least for the immediate future, right? Or maybe far in the future, but maybe at least in the immediate future, some things need to die in my life. Something has to close. And that rounds up, kind of going back, rounding up to the theme of the dragon year, of that spiritual awakening, that spiritual cleansing, that spiritual kick in the gut, right? The year of big questions. And so when we're drawing now to this moment, right, to this moment where we're deciding which door it's time, for me to close. And I mean close and pour concrete, not close and open, like peek it, but like close. Okay. So it will bring a lot of this anxious, restless, unsettled energy, right? But energetically, we also feel like taking a long, long, long nap because of the season of hibernation. So just honor, all of these, acknowledge them, try not to work through them quickly, try not to dismiss them, try not to numb these things, but just to be very present with these, feelings and moments of awareness that come through over the next 30 days. Okay, so I think that was it. Yes, the rat is the 11th month of the dragon year. For those that are tuning in for the first time, we don't follow the Gregorian calendar, okay? So it's not January 1st through the December 31st. Gregorian calendar is a Christian calendar, nothing to do with Chinese metaphysics. So just remember, we're in the final stretch, but we're not quite done with the dragon year. So there's still a lot of residual impact from October, which was the summit of this year. So just adjust your mindset, adjust your action, so that you're not quickly hurrying to create 2025 when energetically is still asking you to be right here, right now. Okay. So like I said, December is the peak of the winter season. So imagine if you lived anywhere where there's actual 4 seasons, not like Arizona. December is like snow-capped mountains, frozen water where you can actually ice skate. over the lake or something like that. So it is the peak of the winter season. Everything is quiet. Everything is still. The trees are bare bones, right? You see just kind of empty branches, right? And from a body perspective, I had already mentioned that this is related to our kidney, but it's also tied to our urinary tract, as well as the bones and body fluids like saliva, all things, tears. So you're just really attentive to that. A lot of people actually move into this season feeling even more emotional than they were feeling in September. Okay, the season of letting go, the metal season. So it's okay, and a lot of people even go into the holidays with some anxiety, whether that is crazy family, lack of family, right? And also because of the color of water is actually black, not blue. It does kind of feel like there's a veil of blackness where people feel depressed. Um, I usually call it the lethargic energy, where I just feel unmotivated, kind of apathetic, I don't care, kind of feeling. So just lean into what got you here thus far. What are those healthy routines, right? Not drinking, not retail therapy, not, those kinds of destructive behavior, but always lean in alignment with what the energy is currently present, which is the dragon, right? Which is the spiritual works. Okay. Leaning into our own strength, into our own understanding sometimes is not enough, especially if we're not well. Okay. And leaning on other people right now is not so reasonable, because every single person like you is also going through their own stuff. So they may not have the capacity to be fully present for you. They may have, they may also be feeling apathetic and less patient, and also maybe negative, and they could be sharing that energy. So if you're counting on others to feed you, to feed your spirit, that's not the best choice. This includes like the closest people in your life, like your spouse or your best friend. You have to lean into your faith, whatever that means to you, okay? Because we need supernatural. We can't have natural, which is humans and pets, okay? We need something supernatural. So if you are feeling anxious and fearful and nervous and full of trepidation and all of that, um, look for something supernatural. Okay. All right. So we have Nobleman in December, and it applies to those who were born in the years ending 5 or 9. So like 1965, 1989, right? That ends with a 5 or 9. Or if you look at your BaZi chart, you'll look at the year pillar, and I know they kind of look similar, but they're not. If it says yin wood in the year or yin earth in the year, okay, yin wood or yin earth, then the month of December is your nobleman. And that also applies if you were born on the day, okay, of yin wood or the day of yin earth. So the whole month of December is your nobleman month. So you always want to take advantage of nobleman, but also remembering that nobleman doesn't always mean sunshine, roses, and unicorns, right? Although that can happen when things lined up really perfectly, that we call it a divine synchronicity, when the right person shows up at the right time at the right place. And there's sometimes very little effort is needed, and things just happen, like, oh, suddenly a door is open, or I was thinking about getting a new job and there's opportunities coming to me rather than me kind of going out to like seize it or look for it or trying to knock down doors to create those opportunities for myself. More common is when we're having some difficulties in life. And so as you close out the month of November, right, the month of self-sabotage, hopefully you've nipped that in the butt. Um, Closing out November, just seeing where else am I experiencing friction in my life? What else did I not quite resolve? Um, what else is still bothering me? Kind of a thing. And you go into December. If this is your Nobleman month, then it's an excellent time, the best time to confront it full on with the support of Noblemen and with the protection of Noblemen. And remember, when you have Noblemen, it means you're not alone. And there are times when we have this false sense of nobility, like, I gotta do it myself. If I want it done right, I gotta do it myself, kind of a thing. That's actually not noble. That's false nobility, right? So nobleman means you have help. And remember, this dragon year, we are absent of noblemen altogether in the year, but we have these spurts of time throughout the year where angels show up. They become more apparent. And because they've been lacking in the year, when they do show up, they mean something. They mean a lot. So you want to take advantage of that. You want to have clarity going into December to say, what steps, what conversations, what people do I want to interact with that's going to get me from here to here? Okay. We're not talking about like, I want to make $5 million, right? It's realistically what you can accomplish, but optimistic viewpoint that you can lean onto others, you can trust that others will come through, and you can have faith in surrendering yourself to those people to help you. Okay. Whether that's it's time to list my house for sale, so I got to find a realtor. Maybe it's time to, get my health in order. So I'm going to search for a new doctor, right? Or my spouse and I are, having some difficulties we haven't been able to resolve for some time. Perhaps it's a good time to look for counseling. If you've been working with some people for a while and nothing is really moving, great time to start looking at fresh contacts. Okay. That's noblemen. And noblemen will always mean just like this, just like the picture shows. You will always overcome it. Okay. So very important. Of course, we always have clash. No one is immune to it. We go through different cycles of clash, and the clash applies to anyone that has a horse sign in their 4 pillars in their BaZi chart. So if you're born in the year, the month, the day, or the hour of the horse. Now, for some people, you may have more than one horse sign, then that means you have a double clash, a triple clash, or a quadruple clash. A lot of people always ask me, they're like, Jen, what does it mean if I have more than one clash? Well, then one clash is big enough, right? That's when people are experiencing changes and mishaps and, unexpected events and things are changing and they're kind of chaotic. Well, imagine if you have double clash, triple clash, quadruple clash. That means it affects a lot of people closest to you. So it's not just an energy that you bear, but you also share that with the people around you. So if you do have a clash, might be a good thing to get, a quick half-hour session just to calibrate and get some clarity on what you need to focus on. Remember, when you're under clash, sometimes things are too busy. You're on the move, you're in a hurry, there's a lot going on. And so there's different types of clashes for different things. Sometimes a clash demands our attention on our health, sometimes it demands attention on our finances. It all depends on how the energy of the month is interacting and clashing with your chart. So if you are curious to want to get some insights and guidance on what to really focus on and get you grounded and settled so that you can move through this clash, with success, then I suggest to do at least a half-hour session if you are a repeat client. But if you're not a repeat client, like you're a new client, you need a full hour, and perhaps it, going into 2025 might be a great time for that. So embrace change, okay? Whew. Most people like change when they're in control, but we're only in control of like this much. It's still a lot. We can control our mindset, our behaviors, but there's a lot of things that can also happen that is out of our control. Very important to take care of the energy of your space, especially in the east and northwest side. We'll talk about feng shui here a little later. And east and northwest, the emphasis is the spaces that you spend the most time in, or you're doing important things, such as sleeping, like your bedroom, right? If you cook a lot, like, not everyone that has a kitchen cooks, but if you do cook a lot, and you are attending to some health issues, like if you have some existing things that's related to your health, so the kitchen, if you work from home, you have a home office, or maybe you have an area in your house, that you spend a lot of time concentrating or generating income, those are the rooms generally you want to pay attention to. So everyone's floor plan is different. Everyone's house orientation is different. So I'm just giving out these examples. So you have to really pay attention to say, what is in the east side of my house? What's in the northwest side of my house? And you do expect, it's not prophesying. I don't know how the word is, but it's not just because you anticipate something bad to happen that, oh my gosh, then it's going to happen. That's the wrong way of practicing manifestation. Okay. I hear this a lot from people. I don't want to know because then it will happen. And like, no, that's not how you do that. But when you're under clash, things do happen. And that's the whole point of the clash, is things happen. But amazing, awesome things can also happen, so it's really a matter of how are you attending to your mindset, along with aligning that with your actions, to know, okay, clash means it's time to make a change. Well, maybe it's time to stop eating sugar, or maybe it's time to move my body more, right? So these are all healthier ways of anticipating things to happen. But yes, there can be disruption. That's it's unexpected things, unexpected guests coming to your house, and it kind of throws off your day or throws off your energy. So that's just the anticipation. But if if you do know, I'm sorry, if you do understand and can prepare yourself for that, you won't feel hijacked by that. You just have this sort of surrender, like, yeah, that I was already anticipating for that to happen. So you don't have any more charged energy towards it where you're fighting it. And that's when we can create a lot of unhealthy, habits. There's more negative stuff taking real estate in our head, because we're, fighting against that unexpected disruption in our life. Obviously be open, okay, and flexible. The best way for that, by the way, is to not overbook yourself. So when you have a clash, you really want to have more space, more breath in your life for unexpected things. That's how you stay flexible. You don't stay flexible by having yourself like scheduled very rigidly from like the moment you wake up until the moment you go to bed. So that's not being flexible. That's not leaving things open, right? So you're going to have better discernment in terms of what you're saying yes to going into December, if this is your clash. But this is the same application for any kind of clashes in your life. So, and it's normal to feel restless and anxious. That's the whole point of the clash. It's kind of like the itchy butt syndrome. You're just like, nothing feels good enough. Like nothing, I'm going to go. And your mind is ruminating. You're all over the place. And so it is totally normal. Instead of fighting to not be that way, how about use the energy to channel that into something productive? So clean out your closet. you know, use all that excess energy and like clean out the closet or use that extra energy to go for a jog, something, right? Rather than just like being up here and then like feeling bad about it because you're just up here. Great time to execute change and trust that things are happening, especially when you're under clash, like things are supposed to be happening. So you may not understand it. You may not have the full picture as to why it's happening, but that's the whole point, right? That's the whole point, that things are happening and it's part of the change. So trusting it and surrendering to it is going to be much healthier. I also talked about the bladder, right, from a Chinese medicine perspective. But once we're start to talk about like the actual physical limbs of the body. So rat and horse are generally associated with the lower part of the body. So this is from the hips all the way to the toes. So when you have a clash, for example, your there could be some um, ailments or imbalances that may occur between the hips to the toes. So you can have hip problems, hip tightness. Maybe you have varicose veins. Maybe you have Charlie horse. Maybe you break your toe. You know, maybe you sprain your ankle. Maybe you get, like some pains or injuries, in your Achilles, all of that. These are all just a variety of examples of what can happen in our external body right here. So if you have a clash, like you want to make sure they're healthy. So you're working out, maybe focusing more on the lower body, stretching, doing some weights or walking, moving the legs like this. But you also want to be careful. It's kind of a catch 22. You also want to be careful so you don't actually injure yourself. So for example, like a good example would be uh, stationary bikes, right? Because you're in one place, but you're just moving your legs and you're also moving your hips. So that would be a good exercise for someone that has a rat and horse clash. Um, okay, so then the next thing is we're worrying about the interior organs of the lower extremities, which is the urinary tract, our bladder. For ladies, it would be the uterus, the ovaries, right? Also the sexual organs of the body. So we're just giving it an extra boost, okay? So whether you're getting blood work done, whether you're calibrating your supplements with your doctor, maybe you're changing up your diet a little bit to support that. Maybe you're drinking a little bit more cranberry juice or charcuterie juice, something like that, to just help with whatever it is that you're experiencing. All of those things are very helpful going into the month of December. I gave a couple of examples a long time ago, but this is just to show you what clash can happen on the extreme, in the extreme case scenario. So this is Gloria Stefan. You can see that she was born on the day of the rat. She has a rat sign in her 4 pillars. And when she was between the age of 32 to 42, she was also in the luck of the rat. Remember, the luck is a journey that you're on. This is fixed. So she has 2 rat signs during that period in her life. Well, when she was at the height of her singing career, she was doing a lot of touring. She was performing a lot. She actually got into a pretty major automobile accident during one of her tours. She was, I believe, traveling in her tour bus in 1990. At the time, she was 33 years old. Okay, if I did the math correct there. So 1990 was the year of the horse. And you know that the horse and the rat, they clash, right? But not only did she have that one clash, but because she was also in the middle of her 10-year luck, that also clashed. So she had a double clash. And so that's the year where, yes, she was moving around a lot. She was touring. There was a lot of things going on. Her career was happening, right? And she also got into a car accident. And what happened to her, I believe, she was temporarily paralyzed. Paralyzed, it's her limbs, right? She can't move, she can't walk. So that's also related to the lower extremities of the body. Thankfully, she was able to recover from that and is, she's okay. But clash, okay? And same thing, here's Joe Biden. Joe Biden was born in the year of the horse, okay? And when he was a kid, from 6 to 16, you see he has the rat sign here. So he had a 10-year clash when he was a kid. If you look at his bio, he actually started off in life pretty well off. I don't know if it was like super affluent, but he was well. But then when he began this luck cycle, his father experienced like a job loss and they ended up moving. I believe he was raised by his grandma, moved around a lot. They struggled a lot. There was a lot of changes. And, this isn't necessarily the childhood where you stay in one house and you go to one school and you have the same parents. When you have a clash, it's when there's disruption, right? There's dysfunction, there's instability. That's what it means. And we see that a lot with, people who have broken homes, like when their parents get divorced and they end up having two houses, right? Or they were born in a military family, right? And they would travel and they would live in different parts of the world. Or in some cases, like royalty or like really wealthy people, they get sent to boarding school. So they leave home. Think about that. It's like usually we leave home when we go to college, but when you're going to boarding school in grade school and high school, that happens much younger in your life. So there's all these different scenarios again, because everyone is in different circumstances, different situation, as well as the influence of their parents, right? Because you have to look at what are the parents energetically going through, right? Um, and also what is the influence of their environment and their upbringing. So everyone's different, but the clash still at the end of the day means the same thing. It means disruption, change, instability. Lots of things are changing. So he will have a clash this coming December. Obviously, he's over here. So Biden is actually 82. Oh, he has a birthday. Yes, 82. So he is in this luck, which is currently also a 10-year clash, right? So this is actually quite common. We see this a lot in politicians when they enter into the luck of the clash. They usually take on a different political position, which obviously if you're, a congressman or a senator or whatever, the next higher up would be to run for president. In some cases, it might be you get promoted, in your corporate job, or you leave your corporate job to be an entrepreneur. Again, these are all different scenarios, but there's still changes. In Hollywood, we see actors become first-time directors, and actors become first-time screenwriters. So that's the change that's happening in their life. So he's already in that change. And then in the month of December, he's going to have an extra oomph of change, especially going into January. I'm doing a little BaZi chart reading for Joe Biden going into January because January is the month of the ox, which will also be a double clash for him. Obviously, he will be stepping down from his presidency, big change, everything will be changing in his life, possibly also from a health perspective, relationship, home life, all of the above. So we will see. Hopefully he doesn't have any mishaps for the lower extremities of the body going into December. Okay, I'm going to skip through that. I want to also bring to your attention that December is the rat is also a peach blossom theme. And so peach blossom theme means it's a time for the reconnection of relationship. But because there's also a little bit of relationship penalty with the rat month, it brings up certain friction, kind of like, oh, I gotta go hang out with my family, but I can't stand that uncle. You know what I mean? So while I enjoy family time, there's that one person. And again, that's an example, an analogy. It can be in anything, right? Maybe I need to pitch my new business endeavor with this thing, but I don't really get along with that person, or that person is very triggering to me, and blah, blah, blah. So the list goes on. This is not, the rat month is not a straightforward like peach blossom where it's like, oh, just fall in love and everybody gets along and kumbaya, let's all hold hands. That's a desire for that we want for the world, and that's fine, but that's not the reality of December. So, and the whole point in this human experience that we have is we grow in friction. And that goes back to my beginning, like my opening remarks about the fire and water friction, but so is the emphasis around people. So my quick advice for December is, if you miss someone that you haven't talked to, but you've been thinking about them, or if you had a falling out with someone and you want to have some closing statements or to resolve and reconcile or clear the air, December is great for that. It's not going to be fun. And when something is not fun, we don't really like to go do it, right? We're just like, we can come up with all kinds of excuses to justify why it's not necessary for us to do that. But remember, we're all energy beings, okay? So we're always exchanging energies with people. We're not just exchanging positive energy, right? We're also exchanging energy of worries, energy of doubt, energy of energy of fear, right? And the list goes on. And so the only way for one to be pure in their intentions to move forward and to have the life that you desire, you got to clean that out, you know? It's like trying to sell a house. It's like, well, you should clean the house, right? You're not going to leave boxes piled up somewhere in the attic and think no one's going to see it because it's up in the attic in a box, like in the, eventually someone's going to notice because it's still in the house. So everybody dreads to go up there and get dirty and dusty, and we usually make a mess before we clean anything up. But you feel so much better when you do it. You clear the way. Yes, it's going to, trigger emotions, whatever it is that you're looking at, right? But we got to do it. We have to be bold. We have to be brave. If you want the life that you desire, December, friction in relationship. There's going to be remembrance of that. There's going to be healing from that. And everything in this journey is a process. And when it like catches your attention, it grips you a little bit, it's a reminder that you can go deeper. Okay. It's not a reminder for you to feel bad and go, I thought I worked through that 5 years ago. I already paid enough money in therapy. Why is this coming up? Or what is wrong with me? Why is this still bothering me? I instead encourage you to look at it as, how is this emotion triggering me to go deeper in my spiritual works and in my healing and in my forgiveness and in my own personal growth? Okay. So, all right. The ones that are going to be uber sensitive with that energy, that relationship energy, are the people who have the rabbit signs in their BaZi chart. Okay. So just check your 4 pillars and see if you have a rabbit. And if you do, again, just like you have a nobleman, right? You're going to cooperate with that energy. Just like if you have a clash, you're going to cooperate with that energy. If you have this energy this month, you're also going to cooperate with it. Okay. Don't run away from it, because then you're going to just bring all that gunk into the new year. And that's not a good thing. Okay. Um, a little juicy BaZi talk is, I've been following Blake Lively's BaZi chart for some time now, like long. And even before she turned 35, I think she is in this luck right now. So when she turned 35, you see that she entered into the luck of the rat. and she has a horse sign. And this horse sign represents the house of spouse, which is her relationship, her marriage, her home, her career, her children, her treasures in life. And that's a clash for 10 years. 35 to 45, 10-year clash means things are changing. Things are changing and things will continue to change for a while. And then she also has two rabbit signs. And the rabbit and the rat are the relationship penalty, and it surrounds her, it's around her. So there's a lot of things going on with Blake Lively. And it's funny because I revisited her chart this year. She had a new movie that came out, and there was a lot of like scandal and controversies that maybe she's not very nice, that there was, conflict, disagreement, like animosity that happened on set. There's a lot of, friction in relationship. There's giant display of affection between her and her spouse, who we know is Ryan Reynolds. Um, is that genuine, or are they masking something? There's all these like chitter chatter box, and I like to follow these things because their lives are so public, and it's easy to match or at least look at their chart and from an energetic perspective, and then try to correlate with what is happening in public, right? So I have my eyes on her. She is gonna go through something here, and if she's not already, I know that the controversy that happened with the new movie that came out, it was like a PR nightmare. They had to like come in and like fix everything in the image and blah, 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 whatever. So again, because she lives in the public forum, her life is out in public, your stuff kind of gets displayed, right? But if we were to just put your hand over her face, and this could be anybody, any one person that we know, an average person, this also is not necessarily like public, but this is when relationships are hard. This is when pain and heartaches and breakups and brokenness happen. There's an invitation to look at yourself deeper. You may not like it, what you see, So there's a lot going on here, and it's to remain to be seen, kind of like, uh, to be continued. She's only 37, so she's only 2 years into this 10-year luck. There's more, particularly when we go into the year of the horse, which is in 2026, because the horse is going to be that double clash and it's going to activate that energy. So a lot going on there. So that's just a little BaZi chat. All right, don't sweat the small stuff, okay? Get clear on what's bothering you and communicate it timely, all right? I know I didn't put timely here. Clearly, calmly, and effectively, but also timely. Don't sit on it. Don't dwell on it. Don't create stories around it. Communicate it clearly, calmly, compassionately, and effectively. Like, keep it simple, okay? But you need to get it out of you. Don't let it sit and brew, and prioritize one thing at a time, okay, and get to the root of the conflict. Oftentimes, when I work with couples, or even business partners, right, when you have relationships, and also between parent and child, there's all the surfacey things that are happening, and it's like, oh, they didn't put the garbage away. I told them 5 times to put the garbage away, but it's really not the garbage, right? It's that I don't feel heard when I'm asking for something. So then that can translate beyond the garbage, right? It's when I say I want to have more quality time. It's when I say I want you to put the phone away. It's, like at the end of the day, the root cause is I just want my partner to acknowledge and hear me, and hear me enough to acknowledge my needs and be willing, right, to accommodate for my request, right? Fill in the blank. So needing to get to the root of the conflict. Obviously, in relationships, we don't want to do any of these things, okay? Not healthy. This is like relationship 101. Trust your instinct, okay? But to trust your instinct, you got to make sure you have a routine to trust it, okay? So you're not like tainted, while you're high or drunk or, like high on sugar or something like that. And then, yes, trust my instinct. It's like, no, no, we want to be in a pure, clear state. Maybe after we've worked out, maybe we've taken a nice long walk, maybe we've listened to nice, calm music, right? Then we can go and really understand what's the movement of spirit in my body. Be accountable. Okay, you have to be responsible for your actions as well. And if you've made any promises, if you've made any agreements, okay, you gotta follow through. You At the end of the day, our integrity is all we got. And actions often speak louder than words, even though some people, maybe their love language is affirmation or words of affection. But words are empty. I love you, I care for you, I'm here for you. But then when it counts, you're not there, you're not available, and maybe your actions are saying something otherwise. Um, yes, take responsibility and bring in a third party that's an objective person to help shed light into the gunk that you're experiencing. There's nothing weak or um negative connotation about that. I know that there's still a lot of people that have resistance to this. Of course, finding the right kind of help is very important. So if this is you, if you're experiencing some relationship conflicts and the relationship energy applies to you in December, but it's also like a nobleman month, this might be a good month, like I said, to engage in someone expert that can provide some assistance to help you move through it. Um, Getting some space and trust what is being revealed to you. Okay. Everything is coming into the surface right now. And a lot of that has been happening already, right? Because the peak of the dragon's already behind us. But we just want to like still be in that space of like, okay, it's still showing up. It's still showing up because I haven't really fully resolved it, or I haven't really finished the work yet. So maybe I'm 90% there, and December is just showing me what that 10% final stretch means for me to get through it and to be done with it. Okay? I just like this quote. You will find peace not by trying to escape your problems, but by confronting them courageously. You will find peace not in denial, but in victory. Okay? No more glossy eyes. Okay? Time to open the eyes and confront it. Be an adult. All right. Quick summary. You can read this for yourself. I won't reiterate it again. But like I said, December is the peak of the winter season. January, that's coming, will be the end of the winter season before we all move into spring, move into a new year. Lots and lots of energy going into 2025. But we're still in the thick of it. Okay. So again, you can read this. I'll give you a second to just move through this, take a snapshot. All right. Use some of this as part of your prompt, maybe for your meditation, for your prayer, or for the intention that you're setting for this December month, of just cleaning house, cleansing, calming, imagining yourself being washed over by water. Water is so life-giving, and it's so magnanimous and powerful, and dreadful, but powerful, right? That's why we use water for a lot of things in terms of sacredness, holiness, a sacrament. So just bring forth the spiritual meaning of water into the season of December. All right. I just want to remind everyone that packages are available for purchase for those that want to have extra support into 2025. So you can actually purchase a package, and you can purchase a 30-minute package or a 60-minute package depending on what you need. A lot of my clients they purchase a package to do their sessions every quarter, right? So every season, just kind of a checkup, giving you homework. We're talking more specific. We can zoom into a particular time frame. You can use that time however you want to use it for business, relationship, looking at other people's chart, understanding other people's chart, or just learning more about BaZi. It's your time, your 30 minutes, your 60 minutes. So that is available, and it expires December 31st of next year. But we also have gift cards available if you want to gift a 1 hour session to a loved one, a friend, a colleague. I have a business owner who actually purchased gift cards for her staff as a Christmas gift going into 2025. And then we're going to use that as an opportunity to create like a special workshop that's very team oriented. So lots of options here. Again, BaZi is such a unique, special, memorable gift, like no other, excuse me, like no other gifts. It's not another tchotchkes, but it's something that somebody can take and own it and give them a little bit more confidence and clarity, insight, going into the new year. So make sure to email me. We have our Chinese New Year talk. This is our 12th annual talk, will be for the year of the wood snake. So that's coming up. You have 2 chances to join us, one on Zoom, one in person here in Scottsdale, but obviously the workshop in Scottsdale, the space is very limited at my studio. So the sooner you book, the better, to secure your spot. And we always have fun things that we're doing in person. We're doing a drawing, we're doing some other fun, conversations offline that's not on Zoom. So, but otherwise, this workshop is available on Zoom if you're unable to come or you live far away, and the recording is also available for purchase. So you can go online. I do want to remind you that we have a 5-day feng shui course coming up in Scottsdale in April. So this is a certification process. It has to be done in person, unlike the BaZi course where we do it online. And the first 4 days is lots of data dump. The 5th day is we actually do hands-on exercises where we go off site, but there's a lot of opportunities to practice. I keep this course pretty small so that we have a lot more one-on-one interaction. There's a lot of information, but a very empowering time, and all is welcome, including repeat students that want to have a refresh. So look into that. And now let's look at feng shui really, really quick. I am hyper focusing on the 2 ikipupu energy this month, which is the number 5, misfortune, and the number 2, sickness. So where are they sitting? Going back to what I talked about earlier, is the east and the northwest sector. So the northwest sector is where we have the misfortune energy, okay? The number 5. And you can see that this 4-5 combination in feng shui is the energy that creates relationship troubles, which is very similar to BaZi when we talk about relationship penalty. So they mean the same thing. So imagine your house itself is experiencing that energy. Well, if that's your bedroom and you're married, and then if one person's BaZi chart or both people's chart have a relationship penalty, there's definitely going to be some relationship boom, boom, okay, and not in a good way. So we want to attend to first the container, which is our environment, our space, by putting the 6 metal rod wind chime whatever room it is in the northwest. But I'm making special emphasis if this is a bedroom, okay, or if this is your home office, because then if you have home office and you're working for yourself, or you're working for, a remote company, that is your relationship with your clients and your colleagues, right? So that can also be a friction in your relationship. So make sure you have the 6 metal rod wind chime in the northwest. And then now we move into the east. The east is we have the sickness star, number 2, visiting for the month. And then now that's going to pair up with the 1. And the 1 is a water element, which is the kidneys that I talked about earlier, and the adrenal and the cortisol and the reproductive system, right? So now we're going to have some sickness associated to those body parts, okay? Which also includes the legs, right? The hips all the way to the toes. So again, what is in the east? What do you have in your room in the east? If these are important areas of your home that you frequently use, okay, make sure you have the 6 metal coins, okay? or you can also have the metal wulu, okay? I just kept the feng shui piece super simple in December. I know a lot of people are getting ready for the holidays, but if anything else, like these are the two things I really need you to make sure you take care of in your space, and have that in place before December 6th, okay? Because that's the start of the rat month. Again, a reminder that the period 9, Feng Shui period 9 recording is still available for purchase for those that are interested in understanding what the next 20-year, the new set of energy and the shifts in the way of life. This is an overall arching conversation about how the energy is changing, not just our spaces, but also, like I said, the way of life. And I don't talk about this very frequently. I just touch on it because it's a very technical and deep conversation, but it's a very important conversation to have. And the workshop recording itself will get into that. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So if you're interested in that, go to my website and you can purchase a copy of the recording. Again, if you're interested in feng shui for whatever reason, whether it's a feng shui update, and when I mean update, it means I've worked with you in feng shui in the past. And those are very quick because I already have the work, your floor plan. But if you're interested in a new feng shui engagement going into 2025 for whatever reason, whether you're renovating, improving, purchasing a new property, or you just want to have like good energy, right? For whatever endeavor that you're looking to embrace into your new year, feng shui would be a fantastic way to do that. And every feng shui analysis engagement always includes BaZi. All right, so think of that as like one big package. It's very comprehensive, very involved. There's a lot more hours involved in this service, so something to think about. Or if you just want to learn more about it, you can schedule a 15-minute discovery call with me over the phone, and we can have a quick chat. Okay, just a reminder that we will not have a BaZi talk for the month of January, which is the month of the ox, because I will be preparing all of the materials for going into the new year. But follow me on Instagram at Feng Shui by Jen. I will be posting the daily BaZi energy, so that's also one way to kind of keep track and stay in flow. But we won't have a separate workshop for January. So this will be it for 2024. I hope to see you at the Chinese New Year talk, and then we will have new schedule rolled out for the monthly talk for 2025. So stay tuned. I hope you are all doing great. I wish you happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, all the things. And I will be back. I'm in touch, but I will be back. You can go on my schedule online, calendly.com at slash for Feng Shui by Jen to schedule our appointments on Zoom. Otherwise, all in-person appointments will take place again in January, starting January 8th. So thank you for your time. I wish you the best. Keep in touch. Bye-bye.